we've been talking over the course of several videos over the last few days about growing up around smokers and when we started smoking and our lives in families of smokers and smoke-filled cars and houses and whatnot and what have you. And this person here says, I had my first cigarette in the hospital the night my mom died. I was 11. First things first, sorry about hearing about your mom. Obviously it's not something recent, but still sucks to hear. Secondly, people nowadays are going to see this and they're going, 11? I was 13. I was only 2 years older. I had my first cigarette. Now, prior to me having my first cigarette, I used to chew tobacco. And I never really liked the loose tobacco. I tried the loose tobacco, but that was never really my jam. So I did the pouches, the Skoal pouches back in the day. Put a little Skoal pouch right there. Ding, ding. Anyway, I had my first cigarette after a really, really, really bad day at work. Local farmer hired a bunch of us teenagers to plant Christmas tree saplings on his farm. He was planting a Christmas tree farm, putting evergreen trees out there, but they were little saplings that were like about that big with a bit of loose root. And he had, these thousands and thousands and thousands of saplings and sitting in these buckets of solution. And it was, it was fucking hot as hell. I was 13 years old. I was sweating my fucking taint off. And we had to go through this field and we had to plant by hand all of these little sapling trees. And we got, I don't know how many cents per tree. And it was a hot day and I was pissy because I was sweating my ass off. And back then I would wear blue jeans and a t-shirt with a flannel over the t-shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and it was so hot, I took my flannel off and I put it off to the side of the field, and the farmer's dog chewed up my flannel, and it was my best flannel, my favorite flannel. And I remember at the end of the day, I'm just salty as fuck. And me and the other teenagers were gathered around with the farmer, and he's like, "You okay?" And I was telling him, it's hot, and it fucking sucks, and your fucking dog ate my fucking shirt. And that farmer looked at me and went, "You look like you could use a smoke." He had Winston filterless. And I went, "You know what? I probably could." And right there, in that farmer's field, at the end of that really bad day at work, at the age of 13, I had my first cigarette. And I was like, you know what? That helped. Went and bought a pack of smokes. And then I was off and running. I was a smoker. I remember when my dad found out. When I first started smoking, it was in southern Indiana. It was just my dad and I living together. My dad had divorced his second wife, and we had moved down there. And he learned of me smoking because I used to smoke in the bathroom. We had one bathroom in our little 5-room shack of a house. And I would smoke in the bathroom, and I ashed in the sink and never got rid of the ash. And we were driving through town. My father and I was in the passenger seat, and I had cigarettes, but I didn't want him to know I had cigarettes when he looked at me and said, "So, when'd you start smoking?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "When'd you start smoking?" I go, "How do you know I'm smoking?" He goes, "Well, you told me about the ash in the sink." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I only do it every now and again." "Do you have cigarettes on you?" "No." He then took me to the gas station and bought me cigarettes. Because if I'm going to smoke, he wanted to make sure that I had access to what I needed to get so I wasn't out robbing people or stealing from people in order to get a pack of smokes. So he went to the gas station and bought me smokes. It was a different time.